Hello! So, I have officially finished my first book for the month, and it is A Brush with Love by Maisie Eddings. Now, this was a new to me author. I'd not read Maisie Eddings before. This one was just alright for me. I didn't fall in love with it, but I didn't hate it. So for me, it's like a 3.5 stars. So I liked how obsessed they were with each other, but their reasons for not being together were pretty shallow to me. Like, I get it, and considering our main character's neurospicy brain, that made sense, and it all tracked for what we know about her. So this one also does have on-page anxiety attacks and some things like that that can make it hard to read at times. So that's why I'm settling on a 3.5 for this one. It wasn't a bad experience for me necessarily, but it wasn't the easiest of reading experiences either. So that's kind of where I'm sitting with this one. Again, not a new favorite, but I didn't hate it. I quite liked our hero and his patience with our heroine. But yeah, in general, it's not a new favorite for me. It's one that I got for free through Libro, the Libro ARC program. I am a member of their ARC influencer team. There is a link down below where if you want, you can buy through Libro. They give me a little bit of kickback, and you can support your local bookstores that way. And it's a great way to do that if you're not already doing that. So that means I get to pick a new prompt from you guys. So I've got my spinner wheel handy. That's what you were kind of hearing in the background. I accidentally bumped it. So let's do a true spin now. Okay. A book with a one-word title. This is from Steph over at Novelty Corner. I was hoping to start a different audiobook, so that one won't quite work, but that is fine. I need to work through my Libro stuff anyway, so let's see what I have unfinished in Libro. Let's see. I actually have a really short one that I think I'm going to do for this one, and that's Galatea by Madeline Miller. It's a 45-minute audiobook at one-time speed, so this only take me like 20 to 25 minutes to listen to. So I think I'm going to do that. And once I finish that, I'm doing some productivity sprints with Izzy. So once I finish that, I will come back and we'll pick another book. Alrighty, so that was a choice. I've now finished Galatea, and I'm going to give it like 2.5 stars. I didn't really enjoy it, but I could understand the choices that Madeline Miller made in telling the story, and in humanizing the story a bit. And I appreciate what Madeline Miller did. So with that said, it's not one I would necessarily want to experience again. So, but it's not put me off to Madeline Miller's writing, because it was well written. So I have never picked up any other Madeline Miller works. So it didn't put me off her writing. It was just a choice. We'll put it that way. So let's go ahead and do our next spin, and we'll see what we pick for that one. Name of a place or city in the title. And this is another one by Scooniffy. Do I have anything that's the name of a place in the title? Yes, right here. It's right underneath you. So you're going to shrink it just a tad. Not too bad, thankfully. So I'm going to move on to the Radcliffe Lady. No, I want an audio. Hold on. Let me go to my audios and see what's going on.
A few moments later.
There we go. Let's do the Audrey Hepburn estate. We're going to do this it's by Brenda Jankowski. This is a historical fiction that came out this year. So the tagline is one woman, two childhood loves, the dazzling place where it all began. So I am very, very excited. It mentions Sabrina a lot, which is one of my favorite Audrey Hepburn films, as well as one of my just favorite rom-coms. For me, the ideal situation for Sabrina was if Audrey Hepburn was with the modern cast. Humphrey Bogart is just not a handsome hero to me, but Harrison Ford definitely is. So if you put like Audrey Hepburn in the modern one, it would be perfect for me. So I'm really excited to read this just because I love Audrey Hepburn and Sabrina, and to bring all of that into a novel works well for my brain. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm very excited. I'm getting through a lot more of my Libro arcs than I expected, but a lot of my physical reading has been done with manga. I have made progress on Bride and the Barrier Master. I'm like 35, 40 pages into that one now, and I'm really enjoying it. But again, I like that I'm taking it slow, so anyways, very excited about that. I'm going to start that while I go downstairs and get some lunch. And then we will move on to the next one. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 prompts left from you guys. So far, we're doing really, really good, and I'm really loving it. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. Once I finish either Bride of the Barrier Master or the Audrey Hepburn Estate, we'll be back to pick more. And I'll keep you in the loop as I go. Hello friends, good morning. Today is September 9th. I am headed into work and I have finished 3 books since we last chatted. So 2 of those were buddy reads and then 1 was for this reading project. So let's talk about the one for the project first, and that was the Audrey Hepburn Estate. This one was really interesting. I think if you're a fan of Audrey Hepburn or the movie Sabrina, I think you will really appreciate all of the nods to the house, the film, the way the story's told, the love triangle, all of that kind of stuff. I think you'll appreciate it. And with that said, that's kind of all this story really had going for it for me. It's not a bad book by any means. I mean, I'm grateful that I had a Libro FM arc of it rather than spending my money on it. I would give it a solid 3. But yeah, I didn't love this one like I hoped I would. The best thing about it was the nods to Audrey Hepburn, to Sabrina, to little bits of that story as well. Clearly, the author has a love of Sabrina and of Audrey Hepburn, or this book wouldn't exist. And you can tell that's very much infused into the story. And the writing wasn't offensive or anything. It's just that the characters were really hard to love for me. And that does affect my enjoyment of a book. Again, it wasn't a bad book. It was just fine. I'm glad I don't have it on my Libro FM arcs anymore. But in general, yeah, it's just fine. Nothing bad, nothing crazy about it. I think if you are genuinely interested in Audrey Hepburn or, you know, a story like Sabrina, I think you'll really enjoy this one. So, with that said, I will now move on to the other 2 books, which I have enjoyed more. So, the first one is my buddy read that I was doing with Lindsay, and this is volume 2 of 1,000 Autumns. Now, this Chinese light novel series is giving me life. It is so good, yet so devastating. I am obsessed with these two. I am really bad at pronouncing their names, so I'm not even gonna try. But I honestly, like, this story is way more bonkers than some of the other ones I've read, but like bonkers in a good way, not bonkers in a bad way. And I just really, really had a good time with this one, and would definitely recommend picking up Thousand Autumns if you haven't. Basically, we have someone who is very good but unable to see, and someone who is very bad taking advantage of that. So the dynamic is pretty bad between the two of them. Just when you think things are starting to go really good, the one who's quote unquote bad or evil pulls out all the stops, and that's what you see in them. And that was really hard and devastating to read. And I'm just very attached to these characters, and the world of cultivation is very interesting in Chinese culture. So if you don't know anything about it, these could be really interesting to get a glimpse of how they look at history and how they look at their gods and things. It's just very interesting. So I would definitely recommend checking these out. I know a lot of people talk about Heaven Official's Blessing, which I'm also obsessed with, and Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, but I think these are equally good. I think that just because they're not by MXTX, a lot of people just disregard them. But honestly, it is so, so good. I would definitely recommend checking it out. And then the other one, which I am currently obsessed with, was a buddy read I did with Izzy, and that is Bonded by Thorns. Now, this is basically a why choose Beauty and the Beast. That is the easiest way to describe what this book is. But essentially, we have our heroine who worked in a bookstore, was kind of a doormat for a lot of people. Her dad believed in the Fae. Everybody thought he was crazy. And it's one of those things where you have 4 autumn Fae princes, and they all live in this particular castle, and they have all been cursed to turn into beasts at night. So it's just, I'm obsessed. I love our characters. Rosalina is the perfect female heroine for this. I really love how she's written. She has a backbone. She has strength. She's not just a little mouse. And she learns that and comes into that pretty easy. Because in the beginning, you think she's just going to be a mouse and a doormat. And she's much more than that. And all of these men bring that out in her. There is some swords crossing, so if that's not your jam, this won't be for you. But the way that all went down, I was here for. This one isn't as steamy as you would assume hearing the term why choose, because it's a slow burn, and I appreciate that it's a slow burn, because that means that we're taking the time to develop the characters. It's not just about banging, and I love it for that. I think it's so brilliantly done. All of the little nods to Beauty and the Beast are so good. Like, I can't get enough of those little nods. They fed my soul, and I just was really enjoying my time. Like, the servants are still trying to get all of them, like, all of the princes, like, obsessed with her, and, like, it does everything that Beauty and the Beast, the Disney movie, did, as well as the original tale. And the way this one ends, I immediately want to pick up the second book, but we're going to wait a couple weeks because we would have to wait till December for the third. So originally we were going to wait till like mid-October, and when we both finished it, we're like, I don't think I can wait that long. So Izzy has a couple other books for projects that she needs to get read. So she's going to do that, and then we'll jump into the next book. But I am obsessed. I highly recommend Bonded by Thorns. As long as I like book 2, I will be picking them up physically because these covers are beautiful. And I see this one potentially getting traditionally published eventually. So I want to make sure I get these beautiful covers before they go away. So that's where we're at. I am very, very happy with the book reading that's been getting done. I do need to spin for my next book. So with that said, I'm going to stop at the soda shop, get me a drink, and get my butt to work because I need to work. And, you know, it's a Saturday. It's going to be a busy day. So I need me my big drink to get me through. Hello friends, good morning. Today is the morning of the 17th, 18th? Losing track of days, y'all. 18th. So, it's been a minute since we chatted for this vlog. I'm still have my marks on my face from my CPAP, but those calm down before I go to work. So, let's talk about the fact that I spun Not on Camera, and I finished that book. So I needed an ebook, just because my buddy read I'm currently doing is an audio, and then I'm still working on Bride of the Berry Master. I'm really loving it, but I am taking my time with it. And then my other physical is Guardian, which is a buddy read I'm doing with Lindsay. So I've got 2 physicals going. I've got my audiobook going, I have a buddy read, and then I've got the house switch going that way. I need to pick my next book. But first, we need to talk about Reunited on Sugar Maple Lane. This is the final book in the Highland Falls series by Debbie Mason. This is a series that I really genuinely love and adore. It is so fun. It is so cute. There hasn't been anything wrong with it. I've really enjoyed all of the books in the series. I'm a little sad it's over because I really like Highland Falls. I am excited to see what she brings us next. She's definitely not done writing, but I am ready for a new book from her, a new series, a new small town to fall in love with, because that's just what I do with Debbie Mason. And this one was a really interesting one because it deals with grief. Our heroine had lost her husband, and she also lost a baby at the same time. So it's got some very heavy elements to it, but at the same time, Debbie did a great thing by lightening it up a little bit with a paranormal element. So there's an older house down the road that everybody thinks is haunted, and so it becomes this like paranormal investigation kind of thing. And I really enjoyed it because it broke up a lot of the hard grief things that you see and you're dealing with. And I just really appreciated it for what it was. So I've got 4 prompts left from you guys. So let's go ahead and spin the next one. So a new book from an author you've read before. Okay, let's see. I might have a NetGalley pick for this one. Hold on. Okay, this is my excuse. We're going to read Iris Kelly Doesn't Date because I've been sitting on this book for forever. I've had the ARC for like 2 months. And it comes out in October. So that's the one I'm going to choose as my ebook. So that's kind of one that I can cycle through and read at work and when I'm just like out and about. That's why I like to have an ebook going. So Iris Kelly Doesn't Date is going to be that pick. So once I finished something else, we will be back to chat more. And then I will only have 3 books left, or 3 prompts left. And I am very excited that this TBR has gone so well for me. Thank you all so much for choosing things for me. This has been so fun so far. And most of my reads have been wins so far. So anyway, we will chat again soon-ish. Whenever I finish something. Hello! It's been a minute since I updated this vlog. So I finished 2 things, and then I just need to finish 1 more, and then we're done. So quickly, I am going to tell you that I finished Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. This definitely was the fake dating sapphic trope I wanted it to be. I really, really enjoyed it. And I don't want to say much because this book isn't out yet. Other than Iris and Stevie, the love interest, are both fantastic. I love them. I hate Stevie's friends. They're awful. And I just had a good time. I mean, the theater nerd in me really loved this. So I had a good time. I gave it 4.5 stars. There were a couple of other things. My Goodreads review is up, so you can go ahead and check that out. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that one. I did spin last night, and it ended up being oldest on my TBR. But I knew I had a bit of an insomnia night last night, so I was up a little bit later than I normally would be. So I went through my NetGalley real quick, and I found How to Fake a Wedding Date. This is by Karen Booth. This is a brother's best friend trope. I initially wanted to pick this up because of the amazing curvy cover model that we have here. And our heroine is described as that, but only early on in the book. And any mentions of her curves happen in the early parts of the book. Other than that, it could have been any sort of body type in the way it was described. So that was a little disheartening and disappointing. But this one was a good time. It was good for a brother's best friend trope. I did not love how childishly protective the brother was. I mean, you're given a reason why he would react so strongly, but it was still over the top for me. So, did not love him. But, yeah, I ended up giving this one 3 stars. It was a Harlequin Desire, I believe, the gold one. And it was still solidly good. Like, if you're interested in picking it up, definitely do, because I think it's brother's best friend done right for the actual couple. Like, they were great. I just think the brother was over the top. So, he was a little much for me. But with that said, I forgot, I actually have 2 books I need to finish. I need to finish the Isabel Allende and my audiobook. So I have those 2 left for this fun challenge. The only one left was one that I put in there. And we're at the 25th. So I just want to focus on these 2 and get them finished. Just for funsies though, I did read a little more on my Kindle last night. Stuff Your Kindle Day has happened. And so I read one of my picks for that and started another one. So the one that I read was called Lumber Snack. And yes, this had a few of the bonkers, cringy styles of lines. This one was, I think, 93-ish pages, so it wasn't long. But it was a really cute, stuck in the wilderness, crashed in the snow, he's a lumberjack. Little bit of Christmas kind of things, like there are references to his candy cane and things. So this was fun. I had a good time. Honestly, I would give it like a solid 3.5, 4, because I had a great time with it. I think it was well written, except for the few really, really super cringy lines, which I almost feel like were put in there just so that people would quote them so that they pick up the book, which is kind of a sad state of how TikTok works, honestly. But Lumber Snack was fun. I had a good time. I mean, he's this, Hemsworth, big, broad, Adonis kind of guy. And she is kind of a hot mess heroine with curves for days. So they work for each other and it's cute. I really liked it. She's a teacher. He runs a tree farm. Like, they're adorable. It's not a Christmas tree farm, by the way. It's a fruit tree farm. So, putting that clarification in there since there are references to Christmas type things. Because I believe it's even mentioned as, it's referred to as a North Pole a time or 2. So, anyhow, I had a good time with this one. And then I did start an Alien Crush. This one is by Zay. This one's really, really sweet. It's only like 50-ish pages, but I just fell asleep once I got going because my body finally said, "Okay, crash lady, you need sleep." So I'll probably finish that and I'll talk about it here. I'm good with that. But yeah, my focuses for the next couple of days are going to be finishing The House Witch and the Isabella Allende. And then that's going to kind of be my September reading. I didn't necessarily expect it all to be in one vlog, but that's kind of how it's happened. My book reading has been much, much slower, and I'm honestly okay with that. August was a very intense reading month for me, so the fact that I've only read a handful, I'm okay with. So, with that said, I'm going to leave this clip here, and I will see you guys one, maybe two more times to wrap this up. Hello, Editing Shae here. So I'm just popping in here towards the end because I noticed that there was a little bit of jumping around that might have not made sense to all of you. So I'm here to kind of clarify that. The biggest thing is I did a productive day in my life vlog, and I ended up finishing 3 of the titles for this vlog in that video. So go ahead and check that out. I'll leave it linked in the corner for you. I think it's over here. I always want to get it backwards. So whichever corner it's in, I will leave it linked for you. That's basically it. I think everything else should pretty much make sense. I did lose some of the clips of me spinning the spinner wheel just because I also changed phones within this month. So I kind of lost some things in the shift there somehow. I still have the phone and I tried booting it up and finding them and I couldn't find them. So they must have gotten put on my computer and I must have deleted them when I was working on my 30 and 30 vlog. That's the only thing my brain can come up with. So I'm sorry that it wasn't as smooth as these normally feel, but I hope you still enjoy it. I've got one more clip for you guys to kind of wrap things up. And so I will send it to Past Me to wrap you up. Okay, so the final book that I read for this little project was The Wind Knows My Name by Isabella Allende. This book is beautiful. It is stunning. And it is tragic. I opted to not annotate this particular one just because I would have marked everything. Isabella Allende's writing is absolutely fantastic. The translations are always fantastic. The translator on this one, Francis Riddle, did a fantastic job. I always try to give the translators acknowledgement when I can. But this one was absolutely stunning. This one is a lot heavier hitting than Violetta, which is the only other Allende I've read up to date. And this one, there's rape and racism, talk of rape. Like, it is just intense compared to Violetta, which is more of a pandemic to pandemic biopic, you could say. This one is just a very heavy-hitting historical fiction. It is still beautiful. I will tell everybody to read Allende anytime they can because, one, it's a book in translation, and I want to support all books in translation when I can. And two, just because the writing is absolutely stunning. Like, there are translated authors who write well, and then there are others who write basically poetry. It's so beautifully written. It's so lyrical. Not really purple, but very lyrical. And I really loved her writing. And I will shout about her writing forever. But honestly, in this one, all of our characters are well fleshed out, well thought out. And though this one packs a punch and a wallop, it's definitely worth your time. It's like 260-ish. Not even. 250 pages, a little over 250. So it's not even a long commitment for this one. If you don't want to buy the physical because it is that short, I totally understand that. But I will do everything I can to support Isabella Allende in future. I do have some of her older ones that I plan on reading soon, but this one was an absolute delight despite it being so heavy. It's weird to say that when we're talking about such heavy topics, but this is one of those historical fictions that does have 2 timelines, so we're following one of our characters in Vienna in 1938 and the other one in 2019 in Arizona, so not far from me. And so the way these 2 stories weave together is really well done. Not everybody does that well for me in historical fiction, but this one worked really well. So again, I will shout Allende's praise from the rooftops forever. Pick up Isabella Allende. I would not be shocked if this ended up on the Goodreads Choice Awards for historical fiction, at least in the, initial 20 nominations in the big list. I would love to see it go further, but I think it'll at least be on the big list because this is a hugely impactful book. One Day Will Always Give You Something with a Wallop. So, with that said, that is my reading for the month of September. I do have it all contained to this one vlog, which isn't my normal style, but where my members were the ones choosing the prompts, and I didn't really read that much this month. I thought you guys would really appreciate seeing my thoughts and seeing how things were chosen. So thank you again to all of my amazing members. If you're interested in becoming a member, it's always linked down below, or you can just click the little join button. I have one flat rate. You get early access to videos when I can manage it, and it's mostly just there as a support, and I usually will ask for little things, little helps. I might be changing my memberships a little bit in the new year. I'm kind of hemming and hawing on it. I might send out something to my members. So if you want to be involved in decisions with the channel, that's how you can do that. But again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you are here just because you love me, leave me your favorite pink emoji for The Wind Knows My Name. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
It's been raining for days now, been running like a child. Can't feel the cold, well I'm lost here with you, lost in the woods, lost as I should.